Hey guys, what's up? It's just Connie here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about, is remote closing worth it, right? We're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, the pros and the cons, and we're really going to go through it quite extensively. And again, this is a reminder of someone who's been through the trenches, who's been doing this for 4+ years and has the experience that you're looking for, right? To tell you, is this worth it or not, right? So as someone who's been in the industry for quite some time now, I'm going to lay it all out for you inside of this video. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Now, I'm going to talk about the cons first because everybody likes to hear about the bad and things. So we're going to explore that first. Okay, so first things first is it takes hard work, right? As with anything, as with any great things, they take time, right? Which I'm going to talk about that in a second about higher barrier to entry. But getting, to 10, 15, 20K per month and traveling the world and doing all these things doesn't come easy, right? It's definitely more simple when you have the right structure, strategy, a guide, and a mentor, right? And the right skills, right? But it's not going to be easy, right? It is going to be an uphill battle, right? Some people get results really, really quickly, and that can happen, right? But you don't want to have the unrealistic expectation that you're going to be doing 10, 15K per month within your first 30, 60 days, right? Absolutely, you can achieve it, right? But very, very few do. So you want to be aiming for the mark and be able to delay your gratification a little bit, right? It's going to take some work hours. It's going to take some time to develop your skills to get better and make more money. That's just the way it works, right? It's the way it works with anything, right? That's if you are doing affiliate marketing or any other type of business model out there, it's going to take some work, right? So that's a con. And number two of cons is there is a higher barrier to entry. So this is the same for any business, right? If you're working in corporate, right, you're going to have to work your way up to the better positions. It's the same thing when it comes to remote sales. Sometimes you can shortcut that by being lucky, but I'm not going to be giving you information based off being lucky because that's what I wish I was told 4+ years ago getting this industry, that usually if you're getting those numbers like within a very short time frame, it's because you're actually quite lucky, right? But if you have the right skills to network, you can improve your chances to get better roles. Long story short, you're not going to get the opportunities that you want handed to you on a silver platter. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some experience. It's going to take some grit. And it's going to take some time of proving yourself that you're a valuable asset to a company, because this is what we're doing here. We're selling for a company that is paying for ad spend to put opportunity on your calendar, right? So you need to be the valuable resource. Otherwise, you're not going to be paid as much, right? Makes sense. Number three of cons on the list is there's lots of rejection, right? There is a shitload of rejection in sales, to be honest with you. People, obviously, you're not making sales. You handling objections and not making the sale. You getting on maybe a couple calls, maybe a whole day, 4 or 5 calls, and you sell nobody and you make no money, right? You have to be okay with rejection, and that's one of the cons of being in sales. You're probably going to get more rejection than most people ever will in their entire lifetime, right? And I can get this from, experience, right? It's going to suck. It's not going to be enjoyable. But if you have the right skills, the right paradigms, the way that you view the world, it obviously can be much easier, right? And you get that by getting the right mentor, the right structure and skills, right? Now, number 4 on the cons list is it takes a lot of discipline, right? Sales is a meritocracy. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, is that the best of the best earn better than the rest, right? So you need to, if you're someone who has low discipline, then remote sales is not going to be for you. If you're someone who's lazy, right, it's just not for you. It's why, it's kind of for winners, which we're going to talk about here in a second as the pros. But, it takes a lot of discipline. You have to be calling leads. You have to be on top of your pipeline. You have to be doing your follow-ups. You have to be managing your CRM. You have to be on top of things and really being dialed in so that you can make the most amount of money that you want to make, right? Without these, these character traits, like, really good discipline, then you're going to fail flat on your face and you're not going to make much money, right? Cool. So those are the cons out of the way. Let's talk about the pros. So the first things first is unlimited earning potential. So in sales, and most sales more generally, you're going to look at 2 structures. One structure is going to be salary plus commissions, or in more common space, the high ticket sales space, which is, where primarily I'm talking about at the moment. Majority of that is commission only. So that means you have uncapped potential, right? And that's why a lot of people get in this industry, is because if you're a winner, you get after it, right? And you train to win, right? It's a player versus player game, essentially, is what we're doing here in sales. The best of the best salespeople on the team are going to earn better than the rest. So, with that said, instead of working a normal corporate job where you're capped by the hour and you can't earn, so-and-so, or you're on a salary and you can really only get a small amount of bonuses if, the corporate or, your bosses above you say like, oh, hey, little Jimmy, you might get a bonus at the end. We might pay you an extra 10 grand this year, right? You don't get that in remote sales. You do get bonuses for sure, depending on the company you're working with, but you can earn as much as you want to earn. And that's what's so attractive to most people, is that, it's instead of being paid off for safety and security, you're paid off performance, right? Which is a really, really cool benefit. Pro number 2 is you're just learning one skill. So as opposed to doing a business and learning a multitude of skills, so we're talking about finances, accounting, managing clients, fulfillment, marketing, ads just in general. What else? Pretty much everything that you would think and more that you can't think about, like what are the skills you need to run a business. They just continue to grow each day. So there could be 25 plus skills you need to master to become a really, really, really successful business owner. Whereas in remote sales, you're just learning one thing, right? How to sell people. That's it. That's all that you need to learn. So it's honestly the best thing to get started out when you're a beginner, is because opposed to any service-based business model like an agency owner or marketing, you do have to learn quite a few skills like copywriting, direct advertising. I'm not an expert in that realm. That's why I leave ads up to my agency. So I'm not going to pretend like I do. But long story short, with all these other business models, you do have to learn a lot of skills, right? And that can stack up over time, and it becomes more difficult, right, to be successful, right? Whereas with remote sales, you just have to learn one skill, lock in on that, focus in on that, and you can make as much money as you really want to be making as long as you have the right opportunity, right? Number 3, pro, is it's remote, right? Which is why a lot of people get into the industry, hence remote sales, right? Or remote high ticket closing, is because you have geographical independence, right? And of course, this is obviously tied to the time zone that you are working. But I mean, you can work anywhere that you want, even if you're working graveyard shift. But as long as that the lifestyle matters to you and you want to live in Colombia or wherever you want to live, you can do that, which is really, really cool. So that's a really, really attractive thing that most people have when it comes to high ticket sales, is just the geographical independence of the flexibility that you have, because you can travel to really any country that you want into the world and you can work from there. As long as it has a good internet connection and you can take your laptop there, then you're pretty much golden. So that's definitely a big pro, especially in my books. You can create your own schedule. Now, creating your own schedule, of course, is limited to the account that you're working on, and that depends on when you're first getting started out. You may not be able to create your own schedule as much as you would like, right? Considering that you might be a triage role or a setting role, or you might be part-time or full-time. You might be dialing leads. Who knows, right? But the cool thing about remote sales is usually most times you can create your own schedule, right? If you want to work early in the morning and finish halfway through the day, and then you got the rest of the day to spend with the family, go to the beach, do whatever you want to do, you can do that, right? Which is pretty cool. If you find you work later in the afternoons or even late at night, you can find an account out there that's going to be able to enable you to do that. For example, in Australia, if I wanted to work really late hours and I enjoyed that, right, or even overnight, right, if I wanted to work overnight shift, which I don't know many people that want to do that, but if you did, you were able to probably do that, right? You can find an opportunity that's going to enable you to do all those things, which is pretty cool in itself. And the last massive pro that I want to talk about, that literally I don't think anybody ever talks about this at all, is that depending on the company that you're working for, you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars of free education, right? I'm going to tell you a story about this. When I first started in my first setting or sales role, I worked with my current mentor today, right? He's actually a very good friend of mine. And he everything that I sold for the business, I obviously sold the business coaching, but I learned everything on how an online business works. We're talking about mindset, sales, lead generation, marketing, team and operations, finance. All these skills I actually developed for free while working with this company. All right, so when I first started out, obviously I wasn't working. I wasn't earning as much. If you know a little bit about my story, if you don't, go ahead and check out the video, My Honest Experience in High Ticket Sales or High Ticket Closing. But there was tens of thousands of free education that I was getting access to. Now, at the time, I really, really, really valued it. And I still do, right? Every single company that I worked with, I got access to, I'd say by now, at least over $500,000 worth of free education for the companies that I worked for. And that's pretty valuable, right? So if you're going to be able to pick up, if you pick the right accounts, whether it's real estate investing, you want to learn more about that. Because the thing is, you need to know the ins and the outs of the product anyway. So the business owner should be giving you access to the education they provide or that they sell. So the really cool thing is, in this industry, you get access to a shitload of free education that could have costed you potentially tens of thousands or multiple tens of thousands to even potentially access. Sure, you don't get the service and the coaching that's on the side of it, but you get access to information that's gatekept behind a paywall, right? Which is you really wouldn't normally ever get if you weren't working for the company. So I think that's also another huge pro and benefit and hack that most salespeople don't utilize or understand. Is, like I mentioned, if you're looking to learn more about real estate investing and you're selling a real estate investing offer, costs 10 to 15 grand, bang, you get 10 to 15 grand worth of free education just like that, right? Because like I mentioned, you need to know the ins and the outs of the product to actually have certainty behind it and actually sell it, right? So with that said, guys, that's the pros and cons of high ticket sales. You're going to have to decide to you if remote sales is worth it to you, but I definitely think it's one of the, if not the best business models to start out. And the reason I say it's a business model is because technically, if you're commission only and you're a high ticket sales rep, you're definitely kind of running your own business because you're taking care of your own leads, you're commission only, and you make as much money as you put in, right? So you're technically running your own business, but you're kind of partnering up with others to sell their stuff, okay? So with that said, guys, hopefully you found today's video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.